TG Geeks, episode 229, July 8th, 2019. Metal Pictures in the LGBTQ World. Hello, and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the two gay geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery, sci-fi, comics, film, horror genre, you name it, we talk about it if it's in the nerdosphere or the geekosphere. I'm Keith Lane. We're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm Ben Raggington, coming to you from a place where I think my husband has had maybe just one too many cups of coffee.
Not enough, actually.
Not enough. And truly happy because I have my baby back. My Mac is back. Yes.
Mac
here
is back.
in Phoenix, Arizona.
All right, let's get on with this.
Prepare for hyperdrive.
Meanwhile, in the Hall of Episodes, the two gay geeks are discussing this.
Well, this week we have Ms. Jan Dee Gordon. She is a photographer. She has done a number of different things. Some of her photography is absolutely astounding. We're going to talk to her about a new book release, and it's called LGBTQ of Steel. So we're going to talk to her about that and what precipitated that and her rise to stardom in the photography world, shall we say. As always, we have our birthday shout-outs, our featured podcast of the week, and our favorite feedback segment. And we're going to have little things scattered throughout the show of some of our things that we like to talk about, some of our shout-outs, etc. Then we have our second segment, our weekly recap, and then we'll close the show out. So what do you say? We get on with it?
Please.
Get on with the show. Get on with it. And this time on the show, as part of a follow-up to Pride Month.
Pride never stops.
Well,
Let's
Pride
be
never
real.
stops.
No,
Yeah.
Pride Month
I
may
mean,
be over, but Pride continues.
We had took a break for a week. Now we're back to Pride. So we have Jan Dee Gordon, who is a photographer and an quite good photographer, as a matter of fact. And she has a book that's coming out called LGBTQ of Steel. Is that correct, Jan?
Yes.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So tell us, who is Jan Gordon and how did you get into photography? And then we'll
talk about the book.
Ask some questions about the book in a bit.
Okay.
So tell us who you are,
okay.
How you got into this, and all of that.
Okay, so I'm. My name is Jan Gordon. I'm from Los Angeles. And many years ago, I took just a workshop in photography and fell in love with it because it's very instant gratification.
Absolutely.
And right after that workshop, my family and I moved to Paris,
Wow.
France, for a year. So I immediately enrolled in the photography school. So my first photography lessons were in French. And then from there, I just kept on taking classes in Paris, in New York, in Los Angeles, at International School of Photography in New York,
Wow.
at Parsons in Paris, at UCLA in Los Angeles.
Wow, all these classic places that have fabulous architecture. Well, that's my forte.
Right. And I did commercial photography at the beginning.
Wow.
So a lot of fashion. And, I was in several magazines with ads like Vogue and Bazaar. And I did family series, which were artistic pieces of families in a series of 8 photographs, all black and white.
Wow.
From different angles. For example, 4 people from the back, from the side, from the front, until you had a really nice artistic piece. And there were hundreds of those done.
Wow.
Following that, I sold framed photography across the country in the gift market. So it was in places like Bed and Bath, Restoration Hardware, and several catalogs.
Good.
Wow.
You really made
You've been everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But along the way, I always did my own artistic work. So when I started to look back on it, I saw that there was a general theme going on, very unconscious. At the beginning, I painted a woman's body with acrylic paint and juxtaposed her against wood and fencing. So when I look back, I obviously was covering up her feelings.
Right.
So it's very personal to my life. So then I used mannequins. And, for example, I took a beautiful black mannequin head around Paris and photographed it against, in images with real people, looking at the Eiffel Tower, all over.
Ooh, that's rather artsy.
Then I did painted women and mannequins in collages. This is before Photoshop. So you had to really set up everything in the studio and then photograph it.
Mm-hmm.
And following, this goes on and on. And then I turned all of a sudden to using living things and animate things contrasted to inanimate. And for inanimate, I started to use ribbons of steel. Because steel, to me, became the analogy to reality and to life.
Right.
So it's very hard, but you can bend it.
Mm-hmm.
Then the photos became flowers with steel, all kind of abstracted. Branches. I took steel into the ocean.
Wow.
So there are photos with that, all living contrasted to the steel. Then in a workshop, a mentor said to me, it seems like you're talking about women, right? And feelings and covering up and how do you get the strength to be yourself? That's the general theme. So he said, why don't you use real women? Are you guys still there?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. You're just fascinated.
You have our attention.
This story is like,
okay,
oh, my gosh.
phone was just beeping. Anyhow, so he said, use women, nude women. So I juxtaposed nude women with steel. And again, they're abstracted parts of it. Nothing is too blatant.
Right.
And they're all black and white. And then somebody said, how about some real women in life as examples? So that turned into my first book, which is called Women of Steel.
Right.
And in that book are 20 women who have dealt with hardships and obstacles by using their own inner strength.
Wow.
And changed their reality into a successful life in most parts, and into what they wanted to do in life.
Right.
So that's kind of the theme running through it.
Interesting.
Instead of...
Go
yes.
ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I just thought it was interesting. You said that people, in retrospect, you found what your theme was and what you wanted to focus on. And
right.
As I had told you, I'm a wannabe photographer, and throughout all of the many hundreds of thousands of photos I've taken, several things become really apparent. Old buildings and bridges. I don't know why.
Well, but I think that's a common theme.
You could do a psychological number on yourself and figure it out.
Well, but I was going to say, I think that is something that is a truth with virtually any type of artist that is out there, so long as they are allowed to continue to develop their creative eye. Eventually, a truth will emerge that maybe even on a conscious level they were not aware of. It just, and I don't think it really matters on what the medium is.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So I'm curious why you chose black and white. I have a reason for black and white, but
I didn't always choose black and white. The nudes and the steel and the flowers, etc., are in black and white. I love black and white, and the contrast and the images and the abstract are just, you concentrate more on what the subject is.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that was why I use black and white. I think it gives you a truer image of what you're looking at without being distracted by color. At least that's my assessment.
However, the new book, LGBTQ, is in color.
Well, of course it is.
Well, it must be.
It must be in living color.
The colors of the rainbow, please.
Exactly.
And so the backgrounds, I rented a studio that had several different color backdrops. And each of 50 subjects came in, and we purposefully use different colors. Several are repeated, obviously, but the rainbow idea was there, and it just seemed it needed to be in color.
Right.
So how were you approached to do LGBTQ of Steel?
I went from the idea of the women, the theme of how you can change life using your own strength into a life you want. My brother died of complications of AIDS when he was 48 years old.
Oh, my.
And he lived a double life until he got sick.
Oh, that's
so
too bad.
That was my motivation.
Right. So,
and in the process of these 50 people, I interviewed each of these people, recorded what they had to say. I asked certain questions. And then the recordings were made into Word documents, and an editor tuned them, shortened them a little bit. But all the text in the book is in the words of the subjects.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
How did you pick those 50 people? I'm curious.
Well, I have a son who has a huge network of people that he knows. So he did it. He populated the book, but he started with some people he knew, some of whom were famous, and then they recommended other people, and then we networked all around.
Oh, interesting.
To get people.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And so this is really dedicated, obviously, to your brother, and who.
Right.
And these people that have been chosen are, I assume, all of them are living out of the closet and very proud of that, and have found that inner strength to do that and be successful as the women of Steel.
And very joyful,
yes.
by the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at some of the photos right now, and obviously we're seeing the recurring of the Steel theme for obvious reasons. But I'm fascinated with some of the poses, etc. So when you were getting ready to take these photos, what were you telling the subjects, these people, were you instructing them on how to pose, or were you wanting them to be really expressive on their own?
It was after interviewing, so I knew their stories. So I asked them to react to the steel the way they had reacted to their life. How had they changed it? How did they feel about it? And generally, they did it themselves.
Interesting.
God, I can only imagine what Frank DeCaro's looks like.
What?
I can only imagine what Frank DeCaro's looks like. The man's a loon. I love him to death.
Frank DeCaro, he had lost quite a bit of weight.
Right.
Ah,
and he was very proud of it.
Okay,
so
I'm getting
it. He wrapped his body up.
I can see that now. Yeah.
Right. That's great. And I see
or
the
around his waist.
right,
Yes.
and
as I'm remembering.
the photo
Yeah.
of Alec Mapa is very flamboyant and out and just bursting out.
Jumping.
Because he is.
He absolutely had it in his head. He didn't stop jumping in the air.
That's
And
great.
then I have another jumper, the mayor of West Hollywood, John D'Amico. Also, he jumped up also.
Oh, cool.
So it's a pretty happy group
That's interesting.
with very interesting stories and very poignant stories, obviously.
Well, I'm curious now. What were some of the stories that you don't have to name people? Because obviously we want people to go out and buy this book and see for themselves. But were there any stories, without identifying anybody, that really touched at you in a most profound way?
Yes. One transgender woman had been in the first Gulf War on the front lines as a man.
Wow.
And after the war, she transitioned, and she had a boyfriend on an army base. Her boyfriend was murdered
Oh my.
by people on the base because he was dating a transgender woman.
Wow.
So it became a huge story, and she obviously became a big activist. A lot of these people are activists for rights. So that story stuck with me forever. One young woman grew up on kind of a culty compound of some sort in Utah, Mormon family, where women are subservient. And she watched her mom and her sister, and she tried it. She couldn't get into it. She left home and is a actress and performs and leads a gay life, her family knowing nothing.
Oh, my.
I think by now they may be getting the idea.
I kind of think they have to know about something about that now.
It sounds like someplace in northern Arizona here. we're in Phoenix.
No,
so.
Utah.
It wasn't
Oh,
Utah.
it was in Utah.
Okay.
Well, there's yeah.
I also noticed that among
Yeah.
the celebrities, you have Bob Clement, 93 years
Yes.
old, who was at Stonewall. That must have felt amazing to be able to work with him.
Yeah, that is amazing. Very, yes.
Especially
this last couple of weeks. Well, he was actually in that first parade, and he opened. He's Catholic, from a Catholic family, which he left because he was a big no-no, and he had a church in Manhattan which he opened to all the people in the parade.
Wow.
So that was a big first.
Right.
That's just amazing.
And that was
And each of the people in the book, there's a quote from each of them, and the quotes are terrific.
Wow. That's great.
All the more reason why people really need to go out and eventually get this book.
Exactly.
How long did it take to put it all together? From start to finish?
Oh, a good year.
Wow.
I can imagine. And
A
of
good
course,
year.
now we're already starting to see the pre-release hype. Are you sensing a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement surrounding the release of this book?
Yes, quite a lot of articles.
Oh,
yes,
good.
the book is very beautiful. It's 212 pages.
Wow.
Yeah, and yes, the official release is next Sunday, the 14th.
Right.
And it's available to buy on humanityofsteel.com and on Amazon.
Right.
Well, we'll make sure to have the links for that in
Absolutely.
the show notes for this episode.
So
And then you can see on Facebook, you go to Humanity of Steel, and on Instagram at Humanity of Steel.
Nice. Would you be doing any kind of a book tour in support of this release, because I can imagine a lot of places would really welcome, some kind of, an appearance, book signing.
Yes, we're just setting up in Santa Fe to do that.
Oh, wow.
We have something in New York in September, and we're working on San Francisco. Yes, we are.
Oh, wonderful.
That's wonderful. That is great.
So what, did you have a question?
No.
Honey? I was going to ask, so now that this is finally being put to bed and being released to the public, what are you looking at doing in the future, or have you even given that any thought?
Projects coming up or thoughts of projects?
Yes, we have given it thought, yes. One would be another popular subject at the moment, which is immigrants.
Uh-huh.
Very good.
Wonderful. That would, I can imagine that is going to be pretty intense.
Now, I'm noticing yet another truth coming out here, and that's you've become, through your photography, you've become an activist by taking on these subjects.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Because one thing that always, I guess I struggled to be able to say my own thoughts all the time and not be just pleasing other people. So individual rights have always been very important to me. And don't step on any individual rights, period.
Absolutely.
And so that's another thing, looking at it afterwards. So the women, the LGBT community, obviously lots of immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure what else after that.
Well, something will come up.
Well,
I'm sure.
yes, obviously. I mean, because the world is always in turmoil, so there's always something.
There's always something that people need to find their voice.
Yeah, global warming.
And sometimes you have
yeah,
to.
That's right.
Sometimes you have to be
right.
their voice before they can be their voice.
Yeah, sometimes it just takes one person.
One thing I wanted to do, but I don't think it's realistic, was to go around Africa and photograph women who have made something for themselves out of what they do. But my daughter, who's in the humanitarian world, said, "Mom, you can't take your steel around Africa. I don't think you'll live through it."
Exactly.
Very nice.
So it's kind of a fantasy.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe someday.
So
you can sneak it in.
Yeah. So on that note, this has been a fascinating conversation, and I cannot wait to take a look at this book for myself. So for people who are listening, now you've already said that the book is available for pre-order at Amazon and Humanity of Steel. Do you have any social media presence or a website by which people can learn more about you, be it Facebook or Twitter or anything along those lines, Instagram?
Yes, I have a photography website, which is Jan Dee Gordon Photography.com. So it's JanDeeGordon, Jan Dee Gordon Photography. You can also, on Facebook, you can get Humanity of Steel. You can get Jan Dee Gordon Photography. You can also put in LGBTQ of Steel. And same on Instagram.
Very nice.
Do you happen to have a Twitter by chance?
Twitter?
Uh-huh.
No.
Oh, you don't?
Should
okay.
we?
Well, when we publish the article, it allows us to tag people on Twitter, and we kind of after the fact tag them on Instagram.
Well, but in terms of practicality,
yeah.
Twitter, I think, is actually sort of becoming more of the social media du jour. As opposed to Facebook. Instagram, I think, is actually a very good one for your medium because you're a photographer.
Yep.
So, Instagram is a very popular one for you. That would, I think, be very successful for you. But, a lot of people are using Twitter these days because Facebook has become Facebook. Yeah.
Exactly.
Enough
said.
Ask the girl who works for us to do that, to get on Twitter.
What's that?
It's very easy.
Yeah, it's very easy. So, this has been absolutely fascinating.
Been delightful. Wonderful talking with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being with us.
I can see you have a lot of fun also.
Oh, absolutely.
We try to, and as Keith has said, we've become activists in our own way. It wasn't intended, but we have become that, and I think we're embracing that now. And it's great that we can use our podcast as a means to, be activists in our own particular way.
Right.
And so, thank you for being on the show.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
This is composer Patrick Morganelli, and you are listening to The Two Gay Geeks.
Well, that was an absolutely
It was
fascinating.
a wonderful interview.
It was great. It was great to talk about photography and just all of that stuff. And
Well, also, as we've said, Pride Month may be over.
Right.
But I don't think that just because June is over that we should stop celebrating LGBTQ
June is
pride.
busting out all over.
Oh, good God.
Oh, no, it's July. Sorry.
We should not stop celebrating pride.
Exactly.
Oh, give it up.
Anyway, Ethel Merman. That was what I was trying to say. Anyway, these are a few selected birthdays for July 8th through July 14th, 2019. July 8th, Wolfgang Puck.
Do you remember when he was trying to open a restaurant here in Phoenix and
my
he was
God,
on the
yes.
local radio?
On with Beth and Bill.
One of the you were at work listening to it. I was at my place of employment listening to it, and you and I
my
were
God.
both dying
It was
with laughter.
Just incredible, because he was saying something about he doesn't like shitty food.
Oh my God! And there you just went ahead and said it.
And Beth said, "You can't say that on the air."
And you can't say that on a podcast, at least not on ours. You have to bleep your own stuff now.
Anyway, and also on July 8th is Kevin Bacon. We've never done our 5 degrees, but I'm sure we're probably pretty close.
I think we have. Well, we're certainly closer than before.
Exactly. Marty Feldman, Ferdinand von Zeppelin.
I have no idea who he is.
Well, he was the inventor of
the dirigible?
The dirigible, the Zeppelin, yes. And Tony Kaye.
Formerly of Yes, the original keyboardist.
Yes.
No.
And a work compatriot, Jane Carney, and friend of ours, Trampus Whiteman. July 9th, Tom Hanks, John Tesh, who left a career in broadcasting, shall we say, or as a, what was he, a commentator on?
He was a host of Entertainment Tonight.
Entertainment Tonight, to go play the piano. I don't know if he's even still doing that or not.
I did see his show once some years ago, and he's admitted to being just a massive Yes fan. So he's tried to do something that's sort of like, I guess you could call it progressive New Age.
I see.
It's not bad. It's actually not bad at all.
Fascinating. And talking about composers, Ottorino Respighi, who wrote the Pines of Rome, the Fountains of Rome.
Oh, yeah, I love Pines of Rome.
Many things, as well as a number of other things that I just absolutely
And he's an amazing
love.
orchestrator.
Yep. July 10th, Nikola Tesla, Marcel Proust, Arlo Guthrie, Karl Orff of Carmen of
Burana.
Yes. And Peter Serafinowicz. He was Darien Sar in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And Jonas Kaufmann, a famed tenor who sadly is not working in the U.S. anymore. He decided he wanted to stay in Europe, be close to his family.
Well, I can't blame him for that.
Exactly. And also on July 10th, Facebook friend Jennifer Dawn and Alan Malpass. July 11th, Yul Brynner. Anything?
I know who he is.
Moses.
Well, actually, the first thought that ran through my head was The King and I.
Moses. Supposes.
No, I swear, the first thought that ran through my head was The King and I, and then I followed it up with Westworld.
I see.
So naturally, the gay geeks. The first I'm thinking about the musical, and then I'm thinking about a sci-fi.
Oh, I see. Also on July 11th, Giorgio Armani, Brett Summers, famed match game personality, as well
Lesbian.
as did among other things.
And ex-wife of Jack Klugman.
Exactly. And she appeared as his wife on The Odd Couple.
I remember that. And then even after they were divorced, they were on Match Game a lot. And the fireworks were always very entertaining.
Interesting. Also on July 11th, E.B. White, who wrote Charlotte's Web, among other things. Oh, God, I just wept and wept and wept and
anybody
wept
who
and
had a
wept.
heart
Oh, my
wept.
God. And James Whistler's mother. James Whistler.
James Whistler's mother's son.
James Whistler's mother's son. There you go. James Whistler, whose famed portrait of his mother. And also Robert the Bruce, who was an
Australian.
No, he was not an Australian. He was the first king of Scotland after the Scottish uprising and what do they call it? Anyway, he is a famed warrior, and
he's highly revered.
Exactly. Also, Nikolai Gedda, July 11th, and on July 12th, Henry David Thoreau, Richard Simmons, and I put him on here because for all of the craziness that
he did a lot of good in the 80s.
A lot of good.
He really
Exactly.
did. I mean, he really helped a lot of overweight people get into shape,
Yep.
and he's very caring in that respect. So, I mean, he's a wonderful human being.
just
simple as
larger than life, I mean.
Well, he
his
has an
character.
amazing personality,
Exactly.
but his heart is only good.
Yep. Also, George Eastman, who was the inventor of roll film and Eastman Kodak Company, and Christine McVie.
Fleetwood Mac.
Fleetwood Mac and John Petrucci.
Of Dream Theater.
Yeah. Also on July 11th, Facebook friends J.R. Kyle and Kirsten Cinema. Kirsten Cinema. I had Kristen on the
the
mind.
brain.
We have Kristen Bell's birthday is next week. So July 13th, Julius Caesar, Harrison Ford, Patrick Stewart, Colton Haynes, Lily Spencer, Glenn Schoonover, who is a classmate of mine, and who's this guy?
I don't know. He's some tosser that we just need to pass by.
Ben Raggington. Happy birthday, honey bunny.
Oh, thank you.
July 14th.
Bastille Day.
Bastille Day. Le 14 juillet. I think
Oh,
it's-
very good.
Yes.
I'm impressed.
Harry Dean Stanton. Woody Guthrie.
Oh, no, that's far out that he's in the same week as Arlo.
Yeah, exactly. And Jane Lynch. Ingmar Bergman.
Not to be confused with Ingrid Bergman.
Yes, and I put Rosie Greer on here and I forgot to look it up. That horrible film
my God,
in the
The Man with-
70s,
The Man with Two Heads.
Oh my God!
What a train wreck.
God Almighty!
Train wreck.
Train wreck doesn't even begin to describe
That
it.
movie is a nightmare. It's so god-awful bad.
Exactly. And also on July 14th, William Hanna, who we were talking to somebody about just yesterday as we were recording an interview, and Facebook friends Slobodan Popovich and Ashley Parks of Arizona Opera. And that's it for the birthdays this time. Greetings, programs.
And applications. I'm Ben.
And I am Keith, and we are the Two Gay Geeks. We are the nerds behind TG Geeks Webcast.
Where we talk about sci-fi,
Comics,
film,
horror,
genre.
you name it, we talk about it.
We release an episode every Monday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern.
You can find us on iTunes, Blueberry, Spreaker, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio.
Also, look us up on YouTube. And, of course,
We can be found at tggeeks.com, where you can find not only our webcast,
but articles about other geeky goodness.
so come along for the wildest ride in the potosphere.
Did you just say potosphere? He did.
Yes, I did say the potosphere.
Yes, you did.
And give us a listen sometime if you're, well, you're,
What?
what? You're listening already, so keep tuning in.
I'm Daniel Radcliffe, and I believe that reaching out for help is the bravest thing a person can do. If you are struggling and need support, call the Trevor Lifeline at 1-866-488-7386. It's free and confidential, and trained counsellors are there to listen 24/7 without judgment. To learn more about the Trevor Project's life-saving work for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or questioning young people, go to thetrevorproject.org.
Oh, good. Moving on. Feedback time. Yes.
Feedback.
I hardly think so.
It's the feedback. I told you that story, didn't I?
No. No, you didn't. But please do now.
Way back in the late 60s, early 70s, my grandparents bought every one of their children a cassette recorder. And it was a way that they could keep track of the family. Each family would record a message and this and that and the other, what's going on, and then they'd send it along, and then it kind of kept chaining along, till everybody had the episode, and you got yours back. And my uncle, who lived in California at the time, he said, he had something happen he said, "Oh, there's a little feedback." And I always thought it was feedbag.
Ah.
That's
okay.
Why it's feedback.
All right. Moving on. We do have
the
feedback. Starting with episode 224. And we have a comment from MJ Lyons, who we interviewed on episode 224. And he left us this comment on Twitter. He said, "Steampunk, Golden Girls, La Gazaladra, Dinah Washington, fangirling about Katie Edwards. Oh, the places you'll go with TG Geeks." And MJ, and he refers to himself in the third person. I love it.
Well.
MJ had the best time talking to the two gay geeks, Ben and Keith, in the lead up to the launch of Murder at the World's Fair on Saturday, June 8th at Glad Day Bookshop. He can't wait to talk to them again, and neither can we. And in the meantime, follow their gay geeky exploits at TG Squared Studios or on Twitter at the Two Gay Geeks. Well, there you go. We don't need to do that part of the show now.
That was such a. I
love that interview. I love the guy. He is so animated.
So animated.
So much
absolutely.
fun. And then we got a comment from one of our other favorite authors in the whole world. That's Katie Edwards himself. And he simply wrote, "Best podcasters ever. I could listen to them all day."
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. We greatly appreciate that. And then got a comment. This is in regards to tggeeks.com presents an exclusive first look at the acclaimed queer short film Morning After. And we got a comment from the director of that short film, Patricia Chica. Now, of course, she posted this comment right after we posted this article. So this is not exactly it's sort of timely. She says the online release of Morning After is tomorrow, which, oh God, was some time ago.
Yep.
Made possible thanks to the TG Geeks of TG Squared Studios. Are you guys ready? Get your speakers and earphones out. Thank you, Keith Lane and Ben Raginson. Well, we were
thank you, Patricia.
Honored.
Oh, absolutely.
To be able to be the online premiere, the sole online platform for its premiere.
For a while, yeah.
First premiere, yeah. We were totally honored by that. And now this is.
And by the way, you can still go.
Yeah, you can still find
see that. Go look for the article about Morning After.
We will have that article in our show notes.
Absolutely.
And then this is in regarding 5 questions with Brian Kirst. This is the 5 questions articles that Hamish Downey puts out. And this is from Big Gay Horror Fan. That's Brian Kirst on Facebook.
Yes.
But he calls himself Big Gay Horror Fan. It always does the artistic ego good to be interviewed. Of course, it's even cooler when you can chat about your colleagues and favorite musical artists. So I'm super psyched that Hamish Downey and TG Squared Studios allowed me to spread the lovin' here. If you have a moment, check this out.
And I've been in contact with him to try to get
wonderful.
an in-person interview with him. It's
That'd be wonderful.
We've both been extremely busy. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and our schedule isn't slowing down.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's not. And then lastly, this is in regards to the action-packed debut young adult steampunk murder mystery reimagines 1893 Toronto by MJ Lyons. This is a press release in regards to the book Murder at the World's Fair. That's, I believe, what it was called.
Yep.
And we got a comment from good friend of ours, Audra Hall, and she says, I'll be reading this.
Hey, Audra.
And you know what? I have to say, everybody needs to be reading it. It's
Absolutely.
an amazing book.
Yes.
And that is our feedback for today.
That's our feedback?
Yes,
We
it's
don't have
full.
any more?
It is a full feedback. Please, let's move on.
Yeah. You can leave a comment on our Facebook page and also like that Facebook page. You can leave a comment elsewhere. Where else can you do that? On Twitter, on Instagram, and on tggeeks.com. And we also have a listener feedback line. We want to hear from you. You are important to us. You can leave a message and we'll play it on air. And if you just leave a comment, on the Facebook page or Twitter or whatnot, we'll read that comment, but you can be played on air and you can have a podcast voice too. You can call 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357.
Thou tickles thyself.
Well, the episode is just, it has just wrecked or been wrecked. I don't know who did it.
Not me.
Not me, that's for sure. Well, silly me, I forgot to pull a soundbite out for next week.
But we do have something.
We do have something.
Yeah, might as well go ahead and say it.
We are talking to Yvonne and Sarah Jane from Nexus Production Group. They have a unique way of filming, and it's all improv. They give them a basic idea of the story and an outline of their characters, etc., but they let people come up with natural dialogue. And so
Yeah,
it's really kind of interesting.
think like with the Chris, the oh my God, the mockumentaries like Spinal Tap and such, but done in a serious manner.
Yeah. So that's what we have for next week. If you are in transition or have already transitioned and are in crisis, or you know of someone in crisis, there is a special hotline just for you. The hotline is provided by translifeline.org and staffed by specially trained counselors who are transgender themselves. The hotline in the U.S. is 877-565-8860. In Canada, it is 877-330-6366. Or you can go to the translifeline.org for more information about the important work they are doing. Please reach out for help.
Yeah, baby. They're like two gay geeks. They're together, They're two gay guys and they're geeks. Is that okay?
Well, it's time for the second segment of this little thing that we do,
And I'm scared.
I have just one question for you, honey.
I'm scared.
Have you read any good books lately? Oh, please, you have.
I haven't read any good books. I've read
Rubbish!
I've read some great books.
Okay, fine then. Be that way. Okay, have you read anything that really wowed you lately?
Yes, I have.
Please tell.
What?
Oh.
You want me to say something?
Well, yes.
Oh, yes. Red, White, and Royal Blue.
I've
by
already
Casey McQuiston.
Now, my review is already for this book. You can find it on our website. We'll go ahead and add the link to my review in the show notes for this episode. But, honey, you finally had a chance to read this.
Oh, my Lord.
And so
I am so glad that you gifted me
that book.
I was going to buy it anyway.
But I gifted it to you, and you could not put it down.
No, I read it in
about
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days.
A day and a half, actually.
Which is about what I did, too.
Yeah.
It's such a fast read.
Oh, my Lord. Well,
but it's not a short book either.
No, it's not. But it just captured my attention, and it is a wonderful romantic love story about new beginnings and discovering yourself and taking chances. I mean, it really is a great book. I can't say enough about it.
What did you? I mean, was there anything else that you personally took away, or how did it resonate with you?
It reminded me of our relationship somewhat.
Oh, when we first started dating.
Yeah, it's just all of these discovering each other and falling in love day by day by day by day by day, and I can't tell you how many times I wept reading that book. There were so many touching moments. She really captured life and the essence of a new relationship and the essence of being afraid of that relationship but going ahead, headlong into it and just diving in and not looking back.
What about some of the social elements in the book? Is there's some political and social storylines that play into that. How did you feel about those?
Well, some of them, were natural to make the story kind of work, I suppose. There were some very hard things to talk about and some hard things to really face about, kind of coming out and being yourself and, among other things. And I'm not going to spoil it. No spoilers about some of the things, but there was some really great touching social commentary that goes on in the book and familial love and support is just, as well as support from those that are chosen family as well.
Yeah, there was. I'm going to pick out on one thing. I'm not going to necessarily call this a spoiler, but there's one aspect. One of the characters is talking to one of the main characters. She's a secondary character, and she's speaking to one of the main characters, and she simply is encouraging him to choose to love.
Yep.
And when I saw that, it was just like, it hit me in the head so hard, because this is something that you and I have embraced. Love is a choice. Love is action. Yep.
And we choose to love every day.
And the fact that Casey, the author, was able to actually integrate that into this one little line about how one character must regard another was such a powerful affirmation. I just about dropped the book at that point, and nearly cried because it felt so good to see that there.
Yeah, and it was interesting the way this book was written, and it is about life, and she so captures real life in this book. Obviously, it's set in an alternate universe.
It's a fiction,
and all of these kinds of things.
But it has. It feels so real.
It's well grounded in reality. It's reality, and what was interesting that I thought is that she is a very young woman.
Quite,
and
you wouldn't
for
think
her
that.
to have all of this wisdom and be able to share these things is quite unique, and I can't wait to talk to her.
Yes, we are right now in conversation.
We are pursuing her.
We are pursuing her. Yes, we've been talking to her agent.
Stalking to her agent.
Yes, stalking to her agent. Sarah Megabow, who of course also represents Katie Edwards, and that's how we found out about this book, was through Katie Edwards.
Yeah.
So we're talking to Sarah. We desperately want to get her on. Sarah says that Casey desperately wants to be interviewed, but she's in the midst of
busy.
She's been doing this big book tour.
Yeah, and she's taking a hiatus right now.
So hopefully we can get her on, because I really would love to talk to her. I think she's an amazing talent, and I just want to finish off by saying that for gay men, young gay men who have been looking for that gay fairy tale story of the happily ever after.
This is a fairy tale.
This is a fairy tale story.
It's
absolutely.
wonderful.
The gay prince come riding in, this is that story. So if you want that happily ever after gay fairy tale, get this book. It is so well worth it.
Yeah.
So And that's all we have for the second segment.
Yeah. So we are supporters of independent creators, as everybody knows, whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, or any kind of creator. Please, if you see others that are independent creators at book fairs, at cons, wherever they are, please support them. Talk about their stuff. If you like their stuff, talk to others about their stuff. Buy their stuff. Please have cash for them. If you go to a con or something, they don't need those extra credit card fees. So please consider supporting independent creators. Creator. Yes. The Pew 36
Emulator.
Space modulator.
That's it.
There we go. Good God. Anyway.
Oh, my.
It's derailed.
Yes.
The train has wrecked.
It is in the canyon now.
Exactly. It's rolling down, picking up speed. CocoCon returns for a second year, Labor Day weekend at the Doubletree Hotel at Metro Center Phoenix. We did a official press release from them with all kinds of things going on. Come on down, enjoy the folks and festivities. We'll be there and doing our popular concast as well as socializing. Go to cococon.org, and that's COCOCON.org. They will also be supporting Joshua Tree Feeding Program. And the goal of Joshua Tree Feeding Program is to provide nourishment to low-income HIV-positive residents of Maricopa County. They provide balanced meals from their pantry, and it is a pantry where clients can go in and they choose what they want. It's not just a food box that they're given with whatever is available. The clients get to choose what they want, like going to the grocery store. Please consider supporting Joshua Tree, either with a single gift or a monthly recurring gift. You can go to jtfp.org, and we ran a press release for them about the new Pearl program. If you give $30 a month, they will give you a nice lapel pin. So it's really kind of neat. Support Joshua Tree Feeding Program. And now Ben's going to give us a rundown of what we published for the week.
Starting with Sunday, June 30th, Katie Edwards releases Chapter 1 of a tarot sequence novelette online.
Oh, my gosh.
It's for Sunken Mall. And he's only releasing these on Mondays, and he's writing them throughout the week, so it seems.
Or firming them up.
Well, forming them up.
Yeah.
But yes, he had released Chapter 1 of Sunken Mall online.
Oh, my gosh.
And
I can't wait for the next one.
I know. He's releasing them every Monday, and it's like, I can't wait a week. And it's killing me. But yes, we have that on Sunday, June 30th. Also, Dr. Zombie, Monster Family Physician number 55 from the always wonderful Tommy Cannon. On Monday, July 1st, TG Geeks Webcast episode 228. On Tuesday the 2nd, Horrible Imaginings Film Festival celebrates 10 years. I'm really hoping we can go back there sometime.
Yeah, it's just kind of interfering with
the problem is that
things.
it runs at the same time as CocoCon.
Yep.
So we have to pick one or the
And
other.
we're kind of committed to that. It's
Unfortunately.
at the
at the time.
Unfortunately.
I don't
it's,
like the fact
it's
that
unfortunate that we have two things that are competing.
Right, that's what I meant. So, Wednesday, July 3rd, a review for Maiden, the film Maiden. It's a female heroic journey. On Thursday, July 4th, we reran this from last year. This is an old classics
What?
newly reviewed. Yes, we did. It's a repeat of the film.
And next year will be a three-peat.
It'll be a three-peat. That's right. Then a four-peat, then a five-peat, and let's keep going. But this is my look at the 1972 musical 1776.
The turkey.
The Eagle.
That turkey is a noble bird.
Moving on. Also on the 4th, Joshua Tree Feeding Program launches the new Pearl Partnership. That's a press release. Also have another press release for Boys Town. This is a book series by Jake Biondi. On Friday, July 5th, News Sushi number 69, morsels of news from Japan and beyond. And then we close off the week for CocoCon 2019, Labor Day weekend at the Doubletree Metro Center. That's the press release that Keith was referring to just a few moments ago.
Yeah.
And that is what we ran for this past week.
And you can find all these things at tggeeks.com, as well as entries on our Facebook page, on Twitter, on Instagram. Please visit and comment.
We have some shout-outs. Starting off with the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News. We wish to give thanks to the human Arkle. That is Brian Weber. He puts out the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News, and they republish our content from time to time, of which we are very grateful. And you can find it by finding him on Twitter. All you have to do is search for Arkle. That is Arkle. And he also has the Shameless Cash Grab on YouTube. He's in season 3 right now. So all you have to do is go to youtube.com/Arkle Studios, and you can find it there. All one word. Also, we need to give a couple of shout-outs to some Facebook groups for allowing us to post our episodes and relevant articles on their pages. First, to Gay Geeks After Hours. Big thanks to the moderators for literally giving us permission to share away. And their URL is facebook.com/groups/Gay Geeks After Hours. And then to The Gay Geek for also allowing us to share all of our good gay geeky stuff on their page. Their URL is facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek, all one word again. And special thanks must go to their High Imperial moderator, Jeremiah Rees, for granting us permission to share all that content there.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And last, we are now on Spotify, TuneIn, Stitchers, as well as where you can find other great podcasts. Also, check us out on Krypton Radio at 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on Tuesdays. And listen to their other content, because they are a 24-hour geeky internet radio station. Please rate us and review us on iTunes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast episode. We're going to have several links on the page of things that we've talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357 from TG Squared Studios. I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. Please be kind. Peace.
Cheers.